Hey Blades fans, welcome back to Hertz Arena and another Florida Everblades pregame show. I'm Hannah Jo Groves alongside Jake Maurice. Jake, the Blades getting another road series win. Did lose one of the middle games in overtime. But Jake, the Blades are now the second best by win percentage away record in the league. What makes them so consistently good on the road?
I think their style of play travels really well. Florida's focused on defense, on being physical, and on being aggressive. All things that don't have much of a shift when you go on the road. They're not a team that relies on feeding off the energy of their home crowd, though they do that well. They're not a team that is entirely built around their special teams, though on the road they're very strong. And they're just a team that's very calm. They don't panic, they don't get flustered. All things that are magnified when you're on the road in a hostile building like Florida was this past weekend. They were able to stay with it, able to stay relaxed in the tough moments and come away with 5 of 6 points. Another
bright spot I wanted to mention, Jake, the defense for the Blades. They were great, but 6 out of the 8 of them recorded a point in last week's series. Some of them had multi-point game, I think, maybe. Yep. But Jake, what makes them so able to contribute, of course, on defense, but also on offense as well?
Well, yeah, defensively, it's a bunch of guys who can move the puck well and skate well, and that helps them offensively, right? When you can get up the ice from the D zone to the O zone, join the rush, be a factor in that kind of way, and then also get shots through to the front of the net. That's a real skill. It's not easy sometimes when you've got a whole maze of bodies out front to get a shot through, to get it in the right spot for a guy to tip it, for a guy to be able to get there for the rebound. That's a real skill, and Florida's defense showed up really well. For Quentin Burns, it earned him a call up to the American Hockey League. He made his AHL debut last night, had a fight in a game against the Charlotte Checkers, so big congrats to him. And then you have other guys. Connor Doherty was really strong defensively and in the physical battle as always. Sean Allen picked up a couple of points, had a multi-point game in the win on Friday. Gianfranco Casero with a beauty of a goal from pretty much below the goal line for the game winner on Sunday. So it was great to see a bunch of different guys from the blue line show up in a lot of different ways, but especially offensively, Florida definitely wants to keep that going.
Yeah, definitely a lot of good skaters, a lot of talented hockey players. We love to see that in the Florida Everblades. Speaking of talented hockey players, Will Cranley. In his last 10 starts, he is undefeated. How have you seen him grow lately?
He's just such a confident goaltender right now, and sometimes at the very start of a season, you can kind of get an idea of how a goalie's year is going to go just based on how they come out of training camp and get in those first few starts. Cranley, he gets a few wins in his first couple starts. Even the one loss he suffered early, it was like a very small, like 2-1 loss. Right. It wasn't him that lost that game. So when you're performing well at the very start of the year and you can keep that going, it bodes well for how you do, as Cranley has shown, for the rest of the season.
Yes, and we love to see that. Someone else I wanted to mention, Craig Needham. I think it's a 7-game point streak that he's on right now, and really lately has stepped up. What have you been seeing from him?
He's another guy who's just come into this year with a whole lot of extra confidence. He had a year under his belt, knows the league better, and it just seems like he's trusting himself a little bit more, especially in a lot of offensive situations. Last year, he kind of just filled the role of penalty killer, takes defensive zone face-offs, and chips in here and there. This year, he's a real driver in the offense. He is arguably the hardest worker on the ice on the team, and that's really saying something with the guys we have on this crew. He's always grinding every single shift, going into dirty areas to retrieve pucks for his line mates and get things going, and then he goes right to the front of the net to get second opportunities. Not all of his goals are pretty, some of them have been, but every game he's managed to be a factor and a positive for this group.
And he shares the team leading spot for goals with Anthony Romano, who also leads in assists, who also leads in points. Talk about Romano for a second.
Yeah, he's another guy who just pretty much every night, they're line mates together, so that certainly helps. When one of your line mates is going, that helps you get going as well. And then Romano, he's just a guy. He's got a lethal shot. He's got a smart mind. He's got great hands, and he's got sneakily good footwork to put himself into soft ice to set himself up and his line mates for good opportunities. It was not much of a surprise to see him chosen as the Everblades All-Star representative for next week at the ECHL All-Star Classic in Allen, Texas, and certainly well-deserved.
Absolutely. Well, Jake, tonight we go up against the Jacksonville Icemen. Now, we haven't played them here at Hertz Arena yet this season. What should Blades fans know about this Jacksonville team?
Well, we played them once before. That was a 3-2 overtime loss back in November. So it's tough to gauge on one game. In that game, Florida actually was the better team, I would say. Heavily outshot Jacksonville, outchanced them. Just ran into a very hot goaltender in Scott Ratzlaff, who is in the American Hockey League right now, so he's not here.
Interesting.
So that's going to change. The biggest X factor from that game in November isn't here on Jacksonville's side. They are a healthier team, though, than when we played them back in November, but they're also a team that's really struggled to get their footing recently. They've been in a lot of one-goal close games, and unfortunately for their side, they've come out on the wrong side of a lot of them recently. They've fallen down the standings as teams like Savannah and Greenville above them have kind of put a little bit of separation between them and Jacksonville. The Icemen are a team that needs some wins. They're a team that over the past few years has been one of the Blades' biggest hurdles trying to move out of the South Division. We played them in the playoffs in each of the last 4 seasons. That streak for the Icemen is in real danger of ending this year, so they're a team that really has to get going, and there's, in their mind, no better team to get going against than their biggest rival.
And if I remember correctly, I think all of the games that we played them in the playoffs last year went to overtime. Is that correct?
Yes, they did. Usually when Florida and Jacksonville play, it's a close game. It's always a tight game. Usually it's pretty disciplined compared to some of our other South Division rivals. There's still chippiness and stuff, but both teams seem to kind of keep it cool, lock in when they're playing each other. And then, we wouldn't be surprised to see one of these games go into extra time as well. Florida has recently, and Jacksonville too, actually, they've been getting into extra time games recently. Jacksonville's most recent game was an overtime win over the Orlando Solar Bears on Saturday. So we might be getting a little bit of bonus hockey this week.
Interesting. Okay, well, Jake, we don't want them to get some momentum by getting the win tonight. So how can we get the win? Give us the direct effect marketing 3 keys of the game.
Well, in each of the last 2 games, Florida's gotten a power play goal, and we've talked about it before. The Everblades trying to get their man advantage moving on home ice, coming into this one with some positive momentum on the power play. You want to keep that going this evening. Second off, Jacksonville has got a pretty mobile defense as well, similar to Florida. Some guys that can really move up the ice well with puck possession. You want to slow those guys down in the neutral zone, control it, lock it down, force them to dump pucks in going over the red line rather than bring it in with possession. And then finally, even though Jacksonville is a pretty disciplined team, they're still one of our major rivals, so you can expect some chippiness. You got to be disciplined in the most important moments of every game because you don't want to give the Icemen, the team that actually has had the least amount of power plays in the ECHL this year, you don't want to let them get a little further up the rankings. Stay calm, stay composed. Don't give them extra opportunities. Make them work for it at even strength.
Absolutely. Well, you've definitely set it up to be an exciting one tonight, Blades fans. We've got warm-ups up next, and then it's the Jacksonville Icemen versus your Florida Everblades. We'll see you there.